Hello everyone. So the next topic which we will be discussing here is about the archaea. So what are these? So these are single-celled organisms that comprise of the cells with distinct properties and that make them unique from the two other domains of the life, which is the eukaryota and the bacteria. So they uses numerous sources of energy and they display a diverse array of chemical reactions in metabolism. So let's discuss the introduction. So introduction, it is the microorganisms that have the similarities to that of the bacteria. It is a bunch of single cell prokaryotic organisms. And these organisms, they lack a defined nucleus in the cell. So this type of nucleus cell, they have a different molecular activity which divide the microorganisms from the bacteria. So it has a prominent category of prokaryotes. So there are numerous sources of energy and they display a diverse array of chemical reactions in the metabolism. So based on the reactions, they are categorized into the nutritional groups, that is either dependent on carbon sources and the energy. So one group is Archaea, which uses the sunlight as the source of energy. So which form of energy they use? So they use the sunlight, which is a source of energy for them. So they are often termed as phototrophs. But any of these organisms do not possess any oxygen generating photosynthesis. Now, there are other forms of archaea also that are available which uses the inorganic compound as a source of energy, namely ammonia or sulfur. So they either include anaerobic methane oxidizers, nutricifiers, and methanogens. So this reaction involves two compounds where one compound acts as an electron acceptor and the other as an electron donor. So the energy that is released during the reaction, it releases ATP. The full form of ATP is adenosine triphosphate. So it is one of the same basic process that can be found in some of the eukaryotic cells as well. Now, where are these archaea found? So these archaea, they are found in a strange environment that will include the hot spring, oceans, depth, and salt brine. So they are mainly found in these areas. Now, there are few characteristics of the archaea. Now, what are the characteristics of this? So the characteristics involves the process of reproduction. So the process of reproduction here will be the asexual mode of reproduction. Then it will have a cell membrane which is made up of the peptidoglycan. It has a metabolic activity which shows what kind of metabolic activity it shows. It shows the methanogenesis kind of metabolism activity. RNA, it consists of three RNA. Thriving habitat, so it can sustain in extremely harsh environment such as oceans, hot springs, marshlands, hot springs, and the gut of humans. So these kinds of bacteria, they are found in extremely harsh conditions. Next is about the Archaebacteria. So Archaebacteria is considered as one of the oldest living on the earth as an organism. They are the known bacteria because of their features that are similar to the bacteria when this organism is observed under the microscope. So they belong to the kingdom which is known as Monera and is classified as bacteria because they resemble the bacteria in the under a microscope. So the Archaebacteria, they produce asexually through binary combination and they are divided from eukaryotes as well as the prokaryotes. So they are divided from the eukaryotes as well as the prokaryotes. So these can be easily survive under very harsh conditions such as the bottom of the sea and the volcanic vents, and they are thus known as the extremophiles. So here is a diagrammatic representation which is showing the Archaebacteria, and some of the important labelings are there which responds to the Archaebacteria. So Archaebacteria, it has a flagellum here. It also have a cell wall, plasma membrane. It has its own genetic material, that is the DNA is there. It also have the ribosomes for the protein synthesis, cytoplasm in which the ribosomes and the DNA is present. Pilus, they are the hair-like structures which are there, and there is a capsule which is there. So these are some of the important parts of the Archaebacteria. Now, the types of Archaebacteria. So the Archaebacteria has been classified based on the basis of the phylogenetic relationship. So the major types are Creneto, Arcota, Urea Arcota, Corea Arcota, and Thoma Arcota. And Nano Archaea are the types of the Archaebacteria. Now, what are these? So first we will be discussing about the first one, that is the Crena arcuata. So these are the archaea which exist in broad range of habitats. So they are tolerant to extreme heat or high temperature. So they have a special protein that help them to function at the temperature which is as high as 230 degrees Celsius. So where these are found? So these are basically found in the deep sea, vents, hot spring regions with superheated water. So this was about the first one. The second one is the Urea archaea. So they can survive under extremely alkaline conditions, and they have the ability to produce methane unlike any other living being on the earth. So these include the methanogens and halophiles. The next is Cora archaea. So this they possesses the genes which is common to the Crina arcata and Ura arcata. So all the three are believed to have descended from a common ancestor. And this, they are supposed to be the oldest surviving organism on the earth. They are hyperthermophiles. The next is Thoma arcata. So these include archaea that oxidize the ammonia. So this is the last one. So, and then the nano arcata. So there it is an obligate symbiote of Archaea belonging to the genus Liginococcus. So this is about the next type of Archaebacteria. Now, what are the main characteristics of this Archaebacteria? So the main characteristics are they are obligate or the facultative anaerobes. That is, they flourish in the absence of the oxygen, and that is why only they can undergo the methanogenesis. So the cell membrane of the Archaebacteria are composed of lipids. So the cell membrane of the Archaebacteria is composed of the lipids. So the rigid cell wall that it has in the diagram also, it was being represented that it has a cell wall. So what the cell wall do is, this cell wall, it provides the support and shape to this Archaebacteria, and it also protects the cell from bursting under the hypertonic conditions. And the main important thing is that the cell wall, it is composed of pseudomurin, which prevents Archaebacteria from the effect of lysozymes. So what are lysozymes? Lysozymes, they are an enzyme that has been released by the immune system of the host and dissolves the cell wall of pathogenic bacteria. So the Archaebacteria, they can live in a variety of environments, and that is why they are termed as extremophiles. So they can survive in acidic, alkaline, aquatic regions, and also in temperature which is above the boiling point. They can also withstand a very high pressure of more than 200 atmospheres. And the mode of reproduction, as I've already told you, it is the asexual mode of reproduction, which is commonly the binary fission. And they perform unique gene transcription. And the difference in their ribosomal RNA suggests that they are very diverse from both the eukaryotes and the prokaryotes. So this is what the characteristics of Archaebacteria is. So this was all about the archaea and the types, and we have discussed the diagram as well. So these are some of the references. Thank